Thanks for getting on, guys. A few quick announcements before I forget. Next week, and I'm going to post about this in the team page as well, but next week, my husband is going to join me on the call for I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it's going to be basically his perspective of how he had viewed Beachbody originally, how he views it now, the importance of supporting your spouse or significant other. And so my goal is to have as many couples on as we can, because he is going to be preaching to the choir if he's talking to you, right? But if you have your spouse on or your significant other on, then hopefully, he'll be able to offer some insight on his growth in the business as I grew. And, a lot has changed for sure. So he's going to be able to offer that. And then we're going to talk about some things that we do together to make this work, because I know it can be very demanding at times. And, well, as you build it, obviously you work up to getting more freedom from it as you get more successful. But in the beginning, it can be like a huge change. So I just want to have him on. And I know a lot of you aren't real familiar with him, but he knows a ton about personal development. And honestly, he gives me like ideas for call topics and stuff to cover. So he has a lot of knowledge. So he may be on more than once here in the coming weeks, but next week is definitely going to be our spouse call. Or our significant other calls. So I'm going to post about that, but I just wanted to give you a heads up so that you can try to have your partner on. So I want to talk about two things tonight. One is something I read in my personal development on Sunday that really struck me, and I was like, I have to share this. And the second one is just some social media tips that I got from a coach that I'm working with. She gave me these, and I actually sat in on her team call last night after our Coach Basics, and she had some really good stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we need to share that too. So the first thing I wanted to share was the guy that's going to be speaking at Summit is Brendan Burchard. Burchard. I can never say his name right. But anyway, he wrote the book called The Millionaire Messenger, and he'll be at Summit, so we'll be getting to hear from him. He is world-renowned, famous personal development speaker. I was reading the book, and I was watching an interview with him on YouTube, and he talks about his dad a lot. His dad influenced him, and they asked him in one of his interviews is like, what is the one, this is hard, if somebody asked you for one trait, you would probably have trouble picking just one, but they asked him what was the one trait that experts need to succeed. And I look at it more as not just experts, but what's like the one trait that will make you successful in anything you do. So a little bit of background on him. He did lose his dad to leukemia in 2009. His dad was given 7 days to live when he found out he had cancer. He actually lived for 59 days, though, so he outlived the doctors. But when he was given that short amount of time to live, he spent it really helping his son get a clear picture on what he could do to influence others, because that's something that he does. And so I'll just tell you the trait up front, and then I'll talk more about it. So he says the single trait that will help you succeed no matter what business you're in is that you have sincere humility and a deep respect for every individual you meet. So I was like, well, that's kind of common sense when I first read it. I was like, duh, you stay humble and you respect others. That's kind of how I read it. And I was like, that's not groundbreaking, And as I continued to read, there was a quote I wanted to share with you. Let me find it. Here it is. He says, in a nutshell, be yourself, be honest, do your best, take care of your family, treat people with respect, be a good citizen, and follow your dreams. So that was the gist of what his dad was teaching him over the 59 days that he had till he passed away. And when I was reading that, you know, his dad was a Marine and his dad worked in a very humble job. He worked for the the DMV. And I don't know if you've ever been to the DMV or recently, but when you have to go, you're kind of grumpy. There's always a long line. So the people that he worked with on a daily basis were not happy people, but he had a way of making every single person that came through the doors of the DMV and had an interaction with him walk out of there with a smile. And so how did he do that? So he views others in that he looks at them as that every person that he comes in contact with carries an important message from the universe for him. That's how he views them. So I was like, wow, that's really powerful, because if you started to interact with everybody in your life, and I'm talking everyone, the cashier at the gas station, the mailman, the post office person, everybody you come in contact with, if you view them as having some sort of message that the universe wants to send you through them, I think that your level of humility will be like increased, and your level of respect for those people will increase as well. So just by human nature, we tend to think we're better than other people. We don't do it on purpose necessarily, but we value our own opinion more than we value the opinion of others. And it's just human nature. So you can deny that, but it is true. That's not to say that you don't have 1 or 2 or 5 people in your life that you really value their opinion, but do you really value the opinion of everyone you come in contact with? And I know personally that was like a hard pill for me to swallow, because there's definitely people that I interact with on a daily basis that I let go in one ear and out the other and don't really, really embrace. So he said it's so important to do this, and I started thinking about ways that I could start, you know, implementing this in my life. And he said it makes him laugh whenever he has like a corporation that sends him back a do not reply email address, because he's like, wouldn't you want to interact with your customers? So he has like this strict business practice that he replies to everybody within 24 hours, and he has a huge company. So he has a training company that he offers trainings, corporate trainings, but the company's policy is that they reply to everyone within 24 hours, because he wants them to feel valued and what they have to say is important. And if they're waiting for several days for a reply from you, they don't feel valued. They don't feel important. So that can be applied to our business in the same way. Do you make it a priority, no matter what, to return calls or emails or texts or messages within 24 hours? I know I personally, again, slack on that at times, especially like on the weekends. I'll let a couple messages go. And what I'm essentially saying to that person is like, you're not important to me. And that is not the message I want to send at all. So I really needed to like have this like slap in the face. He says that an expert is always a student first, so they never stop learning. So again, if you look at everyone that you interact with as having something to offer you, you definitely are going to learn more from those people. Like, you could be missing out on so much right now because you're just not taking the time to actually listen. So his best mentor ever in his life is a mechanic with a 6th grade education. So don't think that people cannot be a good influence in your life that aren't college educated and don't hold X amount of degrees. Like, honestly, none of that matters. The reason he values this mentor's opinion is because that man has real life experience and so many, sorry, sitting out on the front porch, it's loud. So many experiences that he's been able to teach him lessons through those experiences that person is the person he values most. So just take some time to consider, slow down, and really value the interactions that you have with people, especially on social media, because we're not getting to see them necessarily and really get our inflection and those things. That's why I really recommend using the voice memo when you're messaging people, because your tone can come across so much more clear. Your excitement, your genuineness, the fact that you are really relating to them can really come across a lot more clear if you're using the voice messenger versus just typing. So, and it's faster, so it makes sense, right? I use it all the time. And I do that with my coaches. I do that with my challengers. I do that with any kind of reply I get on Facebook, even my birthday messages. I started sending them a voice memo versus just typing it out. So every time someone has a birthday, I every day go on and send them a happy birthday and follow it up with a question so that they get back to me. But it works like a charm, and they value that so much. So while we are big on adding value to others, I think we lack sometimes what others can add to us. So that was kind of my message from that. In the second part of tonight, I wanted to focus, let me pull it up, on these are social media tips for anyone using network marketing to be successful. So there are 6 tips I'm going to give you that I learned on this call last night, and I thought they were really good. So we know that social media is where it's at. That's why we're using it, right? We know that this is like the key to reaching a ton of people, expanding your market. Very soon we're going to be in another market in the UK. And so you have the opportunity to not only then sell to, well, work with people in America and Canada, but you also have the opportunity to work with people overseas in the UK very soon. So I'm thinking that's going to roll out after Summit. But basically, I know sometimes it can be difficult to gain interest or traction, I like to call it, on your page. And first and foremost, remember that comes with time, but there are some things you can do to speed it up. So that's what I'm going to kind of go over with you now. The first tip, and this is big because I think when you get started as a coach, you want to like put yourself out there in as many ways as possible. The first tip is to ditch some of your accounts. So they recommend doing no more than 2 consistent accounts versus having, you're going to add greater value to people versus having 3 or 4 sporadic accounts than, just focusing on 1 or 2. So if you're a brand new coach, brand new, I would just focus on mastering 1. Once you've mastered that one, it's okay to add a second one in. Now, what am I talking about accounts? I'm talking about Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, a blog, what else? Pinterest, whatever you want your 2 main accounts to be, then those are the 2 you need to focus on. Those are the 2 you need to implement now and really just dig deep into. So Facebook's going to be a yes for everyone, but you pretty much need to figure out what your second one is going to be. And then, like I said, make yourself an expert at that. So something really exciting I'm excited to tell you about is that I got our team plugged into a call with Shalene Johnson's son. He's kind of a Snapchat guru, and he has a ton of really awesome tips, but he agreed to do a call for our upline. We're part of, Melanie Mitro is part of another upline called the Bombshell Dynasty. And so he's going to do a call for the Bombshell Dynasty, and I got us invited. So as soon as I have the invite, I'll give you the exact date and time, but that's going to be coming up. So I was excited about that. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I follow him on Snapchat. I really appreciate his insight, and I use his tips almost daily. So now you'll be able to get it directly from him. In terms of which platform is right for you, it's going to be different for everyone. So some people use Instagram and don't find it successful at all. Others start a blog and start getting, success maybe 1 or 2 years down the road versus immediate. So just know that whatever you're starting, it's going to take a while to build up regardless. So, for example, I started a blog probably the 3rd month I was in business. And, of course, I had to post on it consistently. Now, I'm not good about doing that anymore, but I still, after like a year and a half, started to get people finding me on the internet using my blog. And still to this day, I'm not good about updating it, but people still find me on my old posts and send me challenge group applications. So that wasn't something that I mastered overnight, but it took a while. So, yeah, good. There is MC mentioned Brock's, Shalene's son's Snapchat. If you guys have Snapchat, you can follow him. He's really good for Snapchat tips. In terms of which social media, I can give you a few ideas. These are just some little numbers that help you if you're trying to decide on what to use. They say that Facebook is more popular for women than men, and it's popular for seniors as well. Twitter is used mostly by people under 50 who are college educated. So think about your market and who you're trying to reach, and this is giving you an idea of where to go. Instagram is mostly women and young adults ages 18 to 29. Pinterest is dominated by women, big surprise, and it's somewhat popular with young people. The over 50 crowd is now growing in interest on Pinterest as well. And then LinkedIn is a hotspot for college graduates and upper income households. So depending on your market, those are just some stats to help you decide where you want to focus. But that was tip number 1, is ditch some of your accounts. Really get serious about 2. Tip number 2 is to strategize before you post. And I'm guilty of this, not always having a post planned out or, really thinking it through. And sometimes they can be the best ones. But for the most part, you want to make sure that you know your purpose on social media. So you don't want to just be like taking shots in the dark with your posts and hoping to get like a random person to connect. You want to strategize your market. And again, we can help you do this, but you want to keep in mind that it's easy to develop content, but it's more difficult to get people to like buy into it. So how do you do that? Through your story. And that story has to be intertwined into your social media regardless. So if you haven't started telling your story yet, it's never a bad time to start. The sooner the better. And I'm not asking you to post every single day about something earth-shattering or divulge a big secret, but carry your story with you. For example, everyone knows that I have binge eating disorder. I've disclosed that about 18 months ago. Now, the way I use that story to my advantage is that I gradually and every once in a while will implement some of my struggles, how I've overcome it, tips that I have for overcoming it, some more secrets within the secret I've divulged, I've recommended books to people, like going live and talking about it, a book that has really helped me. So all of that has to do with me just sharing my story of binge eating. And again, whatever your story is, you can help people overcome the same struggles that you have through your experience. So that's what we're doing there. If you are really struggling to hit your 3 posts a day for whatever reason, or you want to plan your posts in advance, there are post schedulers that you can use. One is called Hootsuite. There's a couple of them. If you need recommendations, I can give you them. But these allow you to, they basically are like auto posters. They post for you at whatever time you have scheduled. And I kind of like to use that on my like page. So I can plan posts out in advance and they'll automatically post for me. So that's just something you can think about. The third tip is to log on, follow, and be social on social media. That seems so silly, right? But honestly, sometimes I personally get so caught up in my own stuff that I forget to just like and comment and, really interact with people on social media. So nothing is worse than you putting out a post and getting comments on and not replying back to those posts. Those people will feel way more valued if you reply to every comment you get on social media. And I know that's a lot, but if you get in the habit of doing that, you will really increase your presence because people are going to feel valued by you. You took the time out to reply, even if it's just a thank you. It goes a long way. So I learned that also from Gary Vaynerchuk last year at Summit. He said he's huge. He has a ton of followers, but he replies to everyone on his social media. He finds it very important. So unless you're a well-known celebrity, it takes a while to build a following regardless. Or you have a video or something that goes viral. Otherwise, this is a process. So you can also share other people's posts because then they're more inclined to share yours. So if you see something that's good, share it, That will allow them to be more apt to share your posts in the future. So that was number 3. No, that was number 2, strategize before you post. No, 3 was log on and follow people and be social. 4 is update your images. Also guilty of doing this. People judge a book by its cover online. So it's important that you put some thought into your profile picture and your photos, especially your cover. And you also want to have an updated version of those. So, for example, if my profile picture still had me with green hair, that would be outdated and it would need to be updated, right? And you do want to get in the habit of changing your cover photo every 3 to 4 months. So if you have one, it's a good practice to start updating it every 3 to 4 months with just, even if it's the same pictures but moved around, it just provides an update. And then in the text of your cover photo and your profile photo, if you want people that have never met you, if they come to your page because they clicked on it and somehow find it, you want them to be able to click on your cover photo and be able to read about you and what you're about and know within a few paragraphs about you and your story. So make sure you have that updated. How do you make cover photos? Well, I have a tutorial for you that I can post, but I recommend picmonkey.com or canva.com, C-A-N-V-A. Those are great. They have free options and they can help you organize and lay out your pictures and actually look really great. So you don't need to worry about having the most high quality professional photographs. Again, sometimes those are not relatable. So use you. Okay, and then the last tip is to assign a social media champion. So listen to this. If anything is holding you back right now from being successful on social media, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's lack of consistency. So if you're not developing a following and you're not seeing your friend requests go up, and you're not seeing the number of follows you have go up, and you're not seeing more likes and comments on your posts, it's probably because you're not being consistent yourself. It might be smart of you at some point to think about finding someone to manage your accounts. So you could be so busy that you don't have time to post or you don't have time to develop quality content. So it might be worth your while, and a lot of coaches have this. They have someone that helps them create images, like for a challenge group invite. They have someone that helps them post to their like page, and they pay them very, very inexpensively to do this. So that could be something that as you grow, you might want to keep in mind that if you start to struggle with being able to keep up because you're growing, well, then it might be time to think about having a media champion or your assistant, so to speak. And this doesn't mean, I wanted to read this, it doesn't mean that they manage in a vacuum. They should reach out to you and other members of your team for ideas and feedback. So if you do end up hiring someone to help, even if it's like your little sister or your cousin or, I don't know, anyone you know that could help you with posting on social media, make sure that you're constantly interacting with them. And they shouldn't be responding to your messages and things like that. I'm not talking about that. You should always be the one doing that. But I'm talking about just helping you to put the content out there so that you stay more consistent. That would be good. And then if you don't have the manpower or someone with the right experience, you can contract a social media expert to help you. So you can look on places like LinkedIn or Fiverr and advertise what you're looking for, and people will reply to your ad and offer to do it. And honestly, you can find people on Fiverr to do this for you for like pennies on the dollar. It's insane. So definitely check that out if you're interested. An organic, keyword is organic. An organic social media following doesn't happen overnight, like I said. So when I say organic, that means not one that you paid for likes on your Instagram or you paid for, followers. That's not organic. Organic means that people choose to genuinely come there and like and, want to follow you. So that takes time. The worst thing you can do, and this was the last thing he ended with, was like let your social media accounts go dormant or unused. So they lose their appeal if you're not interacting on them all the time. So your presence will continue to pick up steam if you are. So if you are not being consistent right now, that's like my big challenge for you tonight, is to decide what you need to do to make sure you are being consistent with your posting. And I know if you were on the Coach Basics call last night, we kind of mentioned this. The biggest fear, and people were talking about this on the call I was on after our call last night, is they're afraid of being like annoying. So how are you not annoying and posting consistently? And the biggest way to do that is to just share. Share everything about your life that you're comfortable sharing. Like today on Snapchat, I went to a produce auction and got flowers. Literally got like 17 swipe up snap chats from people asking me where I was. All I did was share a video of me walking around the place, and everyone wanted to know about it. On Facebook, I posted a video and nobody even commented. Like there was like 1 comment and 5 likes. But on Snapchat, I got 17 people asking me where it was and how to get there. So it can be the most random thing. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but just sharing your life makes you interesting and allows your customers and your followers to relate to you and get to know you. So if you're doing this right, as you grow in this business, you should get people messaging you and be like, I don't know how this is. We never even met, but I feel like I know you so well. If you get messages like that, you know you're doing it right, because they should feel like they know you. They should know the names of your kids. They should know your favorite foods and your favorite restaurants, and you should talk about those things. They should know what your hobbies are, what your likes and dislikes are. They should know what time of the day you work out. Like, it's kind of creepy in a way, but at the same time, it's super awesome. Sorry. Because when those people who are following you want to join your team, they have related with you, and you already have like a relationship built because they know you so well. So it's really cool. Do you guys have any questions for me about either how you can really learn something from every single person you come in contact with, or the social media tips that I went over? It's 8:31. Don't want to keep you. Perfect. So there were a couple people that hopped on after I got started. Just real quick again, next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, would love for you to have your significant other on the call with you. My husband is going to be joining us and talking to us about how he has grown to support me in this business, and it wasn't always that way. So if you have even if you have a supportive spouse, I would love for them to be on anyway. But if you have an unsupportive significant other, this could be really good for them as well. So anybody have any struggles or questions that they're, working on this week that we can answer while we are live? MC, did you have anything to add?
No, I think that's good. The only one thing was whenever she was talking about like replying to like the comments on your posts and stuff, something that I do and where I draw a lot of my names from to Hey Girl is from those people. Like an example, I posted something like stupid, like I really wanted opinions on like different nail shapes today, and there was this one girl in particular who commented, and she ended up like posting a picture of her nails in the comments. So like literally like right now this girl and I are messaging back and forth. I don't even know how I know her. Like we have like 5 mutual friends, and she lives like in Kentucky, but like this, that started a Hey Girl. So don't even just reply to their comments on your picture or your post. Like if you have something to say to them about what they commented, message them, like start a conversation. It's nice. People love to talk. If they commented on your post, it's obviously something they're interested in. So it's just an easy way to, get some good Hey Girls in.
So MC, if you have started a conversation with her, you started the conversation based on the nails, right? Like that was all you were talking about, and you'll go from there. So
right.
Okay.
Actually, and this is maybe a really good example. I'm actually glad I mentioned this because I think this is a really good example. I think that when we hey girl people and message them, we make it really hard, and we like think that we have to like form this perfect hey girl message. And honestly, I'm just like my weird self to like every person that I message. Like I think, okay, how would I start a conversation to Alicia or Morgan, you know, people that I've known for a long time. And that's what I do. So I went to this girl's page who I honestly didn't know, and I was going to ask her where she got her nails done. But then I realized that we had like 5 mutual friends and she lives in Kentucky. So I told her that. I was like, girl, I was going to ask you where you got your nails done. And I realized we like definitely live way too far away for me to, for me to go where you do. And I can't remember how I ended it. I asked her a question. We've been talking for a little while now, but I mean, just be you. Like, if you have something to say to someone, say it. I don't know. I just think that's the best way to go about conversations. Be you, and that's how you find your people who will really get you and connect with you, I think.
Absolutely. That was a good example. So I'm glad you brought that up. So when you're sending your messages and you're just reaching out, starting conversations, it's key to do that on your based on stuff that interests you on their timeline. So take a few seconds to scroll their page and find something to talk about. And usually you'll find something within the first few posts. So that's a great way to do it, and be genuine about it. Obviously, you're not looking for just the next 2 SC points. You are really trying to connect with them, and that's the best way to go about it. So take the SC points off the table. Don't look at people like SC points. We don't want that. You should look at them as, how can I help this person? So hopefully that's good. I'll write those couple tips down that I shared, and also I wanted to share with you the link from the call last night that I got to sit on, because it was really good. So I thought maybe people would want to tune in to hear from that team itself. So next week we'll be on with spouses or significant others, and you don't have to have them log in separately. Obviously, they can just sit in the same room with you and be on, listening on your computer or whatever, or on your phone. You don't have to have them log in separately. So that will be the easiest way to go about it. The last thing was that I was working on our t-shirts for Summit, and today Forever Fit decided that they wanted all the teams to kind of have a big joint one with the individual team logos on it. So that will kind of be the deal. Instead of having everyone buy 2 shirts, I think that's silly. So even if you're not going to Summit, you can still purchase one. We don't have the design finalized yet, and I'll be in touch about that, but that will be coming, and it'll be fun because it will have like all the teams that make up Forever Fit in the design. So I think it'll be really fun. We did another shirt like that when we went to Destin last year, and it had all the team names, and it was adorable. They were written inside of the pineapple, and it wasn't like super obvious, but if you looked, you're like, hey, that's my team, and it was really cool. So that will be coming very soon, the Summit shirt design and the orders, and I'll let you know if you want one, how to get one. So that's all I have for tonight. Thanks for getting on. Think tomorrow about what message people you're interacting with, the universe is trying to send you through them. If you look at every single person you interact with that kind of approach, I think it will change your life. So I'm looking forward to starting that tomorrow. And I appreciate you getting on and taking the time to be with us. So have a good night.